Okay, welcome everyone to our double header this evening as we are holding on Daf Ayin Amud Aleph. We are ahead, anticipating that we will be learning two blot tonight. So we are holding 6 lines into the wide lines on Daf Ayin Amud Aleph. 6 lines into the wide lines on Daf Ayin Amud Aleph on this beautiful Tuesday evening as we welcome in Saba and we welcome in Yitzi Muller, Mark Frankel, Dr. Black. We welcome in, I think I'm not sure who that is, Menachem Yamansky, Aaron Swade. I think, is that Nachman Chapler? Chaim Kramer. Barish Gesserman, Michal, Dr. Guy, Irving Fishbaum, Shimon Klein, Baruch Ian, Shelley Zeitlin, Yisrael Fisher, Mel Zachter, Rabbi Kranz, Shalom Fogel, Ben Zion Cohn, Eddie Chazan, Avram Schenkman, Stephen Holtzman, Moshe Lehman, Ilya Shutman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Abe Arbach, Chaim Lerner is just joining us. Nathan Goldman is joining us from Stuttgart, and David Helfgott on Kololoshin. As we are dedicated by A.B. Spry with the tefillah that all children should be able to get into yeshiva quickly and easily. By Baruch Ian, Lila Nishmas, Esther Bas Yaini, Yaakov Chaim Ben Abba, Avram Ben Shmuel HaKayin, that the neshama should have an aliyah for my shver, Avigdor Aryeh Ben Rivka, you should have a refuah shalema b'soy shachali Yisrael. Now, we said that there is a disease called achilu. My achilu, it's a fire in the bones. It's a type of fever in the bones. My it's known as eish garmi, fire in the bones. My asuse. What is the remedy for this malady? My asuse. What is the remedy? Amar Abaya Amruli Aim. Remember, I told you that Abaya's foster mother was a very big medical expert. Amruli Aim, my foster mother told me, Kula Shakyone, when giving medicine, they are usually given for a duration of either Tlasa, 3 days, Shiva, 7 days, or Tracer, or 12 days, as we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig. Vahai, this remedy should be taken until the person feels all better. Kulu shakyone, all medicines are given aliba rekna, on an empty stomach. But v'hai, this treatment, basar de'achal v'shasi, after the person eats and drinks, v'hayel be'sakisa, and goes to the lavatory, v'nafik comes out after relieving himself of moshe yedei, and he washes his hand, then, and here's the treatment. We bring him a fistful of a cereal made out of lentils, and a fistful of aged wine. Mix them together. You should eat it, and then we want him to have a good sweat. You should wrap him tight in linen garments. And let him go to sleep and sweat it out. Nobody should wake him up until he wakes up on his own. In other words, don't wake him up for early minyan. Let him sleep until he gets up on his own. When he gets up, take away that linen thing, throw it away. Because if not, it could come back on him. Amalei Eliyahu Rab Nassim. Eliyahu gave Rav Nassim the following eating etiquette. Echol, when you want to fill your stomach, echol shlish, eat a third, ushesei shlish, drink a third, v'hanach shlish, and leave a third of your stomach empty. Why? Because when you get agitated or angry, tamad al miluach, it swells, and if you left a third vacant, so then it'll fill up and it won't hurt you. But if you ate to your capacity and then you get agitated or angry, then you're in trouble. And then he said, Tani Reb Chia, as we welcome in Gedalia Engel, as we are holding a little bit above midway down Ayin Amud Aleph. Tani Reb Chia, if somebody wants to avoid stomach illness, he should dip his bread into vinegar or wine, both in the summer and in the winter. A meal that you really enjoy, withdraw from it. In other words, don't eat your full. Don't delay when you need to go to the bathroom. There's waste in you, there's poison in you. Relieve yourself as soon as you feel the need to relieve yourself. Amar Marukva, Haiman de Shasi Tilya Chivra. This is the most inferior type of wine. Somebody who drinks weak white wine, it could cause him to be weak. It could cause him to be feeble. It's interesting. Vosik, like we call Vasikin, means people that are strong. But Vitak means people that are weak. Rav Chisda says, Shitin mine chamra hava. There are 60 different varieties of wine. Ma'alya de Kulu, the best wine, is Sumka Rechsana, is a red wine with a nice aroma. Guria de Kulu, the most inferior, is this Tilya Chivra, is this white inferior wine. Rabbi Yehuda, another way to get this feebleness, to get this weakness, Rabbi Yehuda, Haiman b'Yosef b'Tzafronei Nisan Gabenura. If somebody sits in the spring, in the morning by a fire, and then v'shayif mishcha, he rubs himself with oil, v'nafik, and then he goes out, v'yosef b'shimsha, and then he sits in the sun, achsasei vitik, he could be seized with this kind of weakness. As we welcome in Ruvain Palak, we're holding a little bit now below midway on Ayin Amud Aleph, on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday evening. It's beautiful because we have so many 31 Zoomers on. 31 Zoomers besides people on Facebook and of course the hordes of people on TorahAnytime.com and on Kol HaLashon. We learn to be Mekayim the mitzvah v'dibarta bam la'asais nachas ruach liyitzreinu. Tan Rabbanan. Hikis dam v'shimish mitasa. If somebody goes to the bloodletter and right after going to the bloodletter has intercourse with his wife, hamin loibanim v'tikin, he will have weak children. Hikizu shneim v'shimshu. If both of them went for bloodletting, both the man and the woman, and then they had relations, hamin lambonim balei rasan. This could cause the terrible disease of balei rasan. Balei rasan is a terrible disease where there's an organism in the brain that weakens the whole person. Amra papa but this is only if they didn't taste something before having intimacy. But if they tasted something in between the intimacy and the bloodletting, then then there's no problem. If somebody came from a journey and without resting, and had relations, will have weak children. Somebody that comes out of the bathroom having moved their bowels, al yishamish bitasai, should not have relations at shir chatzi mil, until they wait. So a mil is 18 minutes, so chatzi mil is about 9 minutes, because the guardian angel of the bathroom escorts him, vim shimesh, and if they have relations too quickly, hamulay banim nichpin, they'll have children that might have epilepsy. As we welcome in Philippe, it's great to have you, Philippe, and we are holding on Daf Ayin Amud Aleph 9 lines from the 2 dots, which is about a quarter weight from the bottom. If a couple has relations standing, Achzasai Avis, they could get a cramp. Miyushiv, if they have intercourse sitting. Achzasai Delaria. Now, delaria, it sounds like a delirium, but that's not what it means. As a matter of fact, if you look on the side, delaria is not explained. But if you look on the side, on the right-hand margin, it brings down from the Aruch that it's the correct gersa is alaria, and alaria is a fit of yawning. If she's on the top and he's on the bottom, alaria, they'll have this fit of yawning. My alaria. So the Gemara says it doesn't say what it is, but the Gemara says what the remedy is. Amr Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Sam alaria dardura is dardura, my dardura. Amr Abaya morika dechaychi, saffron that grows amongst thorns. Now, how do you eat this saffron? Rapapa olis ubalale, Rapapa would chew it and swallow it. Rapapi olis vishadile, would chew it and then spit it out. Amr Abaya, Misha ina baki b'derech eretz. Now, this is a refined way of saying that somebody doesn't have sufficient semen. That's what it means. Misha ina baki b'derech eretz. Somebody is impotent. Somebody is impotent. Leise gimel kapize kurtime. Now, a kapiza is a keli that holds 3 revius. So 3 kapizes is 9 revius. He should bring 9 revius of kurtime dechaychi. Now again, earlier we translated this as saffron that grows amongst the thorns. However, could you add some ice to it? Yeah. However, thank you. However, if you look on the side of the Gemara over here, there is a girsa kurtame dechari, which is feces. So it's a saffron that grows amongst a fertilized field. V'nidukinu, you should crush it. V'nishlekinu b'chamra, and boil it in wine. V'nishtei. Rabbi Yochanan says, Hein ichsiruni l'narusi. This is what restored my youth. You know, today there's hormone therapy that restores people's youth. And you see, Rabbi Yochanan himself said, this is what restored my youth. There's nothing wrong with wanting to restore your youth. There are 3 things that weakens the strength of man. This is very interesting. Ve'eluhein pachad, fear and anxiety weakens a person's constitution. Derech, travel. V'ovain. Some learn this means the punishment from sin, and some learn this means the worry of sin. Dichsiv pachad, fear and anxiety. Dichsiv libi secharchar, my heart is anxious, and therefore azvani kaichi, my strength left me. Derech, dichsiv ina b'derech kaichi, my strength was afflicted because of the travel. Avain, dichsiv kashal ba'avoni kaichi, my strength stumbled because of sin. And again, when it comes to sin, one shot is that's a result of sin, that a person becomes weak, or it's because of the fact that he's so worried that he sinned. Shloisha dvarim matizin koichai gufay shaladim. There are 3 things that contend, that war with the body of a human. Ve'eluhein ochal mu'umid, if somebody eats standing. V'shasam mu'umid, if he drinks standing. Your mother told me, don't eat while you're standing. Right? Ochal mu'umid, if you eat standing. Say mu'umid, if you drink standing. Or v'shimesh mitasei mu'umid, or you have relations standing. Chamisha kroivin l'misa yosim in achayim. There are 5 habits that if a person does them consistently, and all of them, he's closer to death than to life. Elohein ochal v'amad, he eats and he gets up immediately. Shsei v'amad, he drinks and gets up immediately. Hikaz dam v'amad, he bloodlets and gets up immediately. Yoshan v'amad, he sleeps and he gets up suddenly. And shimesh mitasei v'amad, he has relations and he gets up suddenly. Shisha oisa isam, 6. if a person does all of them consecutively, Shisha Oisai Sam Miyad Meis, immediately dies. This is not a good thing to do, this sequence. And I'd like to acknowledge that we now have 33 Zoomers on. 33 Zoomers, including Philippe. Mo Kushner has joined us. Where's Marshall?
I showed for a while. I was wondering.
Ve'eluhain. What are the 6 things? Habominat b'derech v'nisyaga, a person who comes from the road and is fatigued, hikizdam, and he goes without pause and he does bloodletting, and then v'nichnas l'beis hamerchatz, he enters into the schwitz, the bathhouse, ushtei v'nishtaker, and then he drinks and gets drunk, v'yoshen al gabe karka, and sleeps on the ground, v'shimesh mitosai, and then has relations. So if he goes on that roller coaster of activity, he's going to die. Amar Rabbi Yochanan v'usha asin kisidron. That's if he does it in this sequence. Amar Abaya kisidron meis. If he does it in this sequence, he dies. Shaloi kisidron. If he does it out of sequence, cholosh. So the Gemara says, but we know somebody that died from just doing 3. Ini Mu'uris. Mu'uris was a woman that of the Leila Avda Tlas Minayu, she did for her servant 3 of these things, Umeis, and he died. Says, well, that's because that servant was weak from the beginning. Now, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'hakol niyeh b'dvaro. Just getting started over here on a double-header night. On a double-header night, getting ready for the somber day of Tisha B'Av. Shmoina, 8 things, Ruban Kasha. If you do a lot of it, it's no good. Umiyutan Yafa, but in the right amount, it's good. Ve'eluhain derech, travel, v'derech eretz, that's relations. Oisher, wealth. Wealth, too much of wealth is no good. I told you that there was somebody once in my shir in Borough Park. I used to have 250 people, and they used to submit names before I started the shir. We learned for a lot of people. And then there was one person that said, Rabbi, please say my name. I bought, the Powerball was $900 million. I bought 100 tickets. So learn from me that I should win. So I said to him, do you know if it's good for you to win $900 million? So he looked at me incredulously. Of course! So I said, it's not so simple to have so much money. It says that the Nisayan of Aisha is greater than the Nisayan of Anias. And Ani Chashiv Kameis. So what do you think that makes the Nisayan? So basically I didn't convince him. He said, hit me with it. At the end he didn't win. Anyway, he shouldn't have bought 100 tickets. Ramesha said, you could buy 1 ticket. All you have to do is give the Rebbeinu Shalom a chance. You don't have to buy 100 tickets. You think it's going to help the difference between 1 ticket and 100 tickets with the odds? Right? It's a waste of money. There's a great story with my brother, Reb Ruvain Zaidim, Yosef Asher. The old lotto tickets, there used to be that you got to pick 2 numbers. So because Ramesha said you only need to have 1 chance, so he picked both numbers, the same numbers. And he got 5 out of the 6 numbers. So he won $1,400 twice. So he went into the store to collect. The man looked at him in amazement. You picked the same numbers twice? That's what he did. Anyway, it says over here, Oisher is good in moderation. Too much Oisher, first of all, Mar b'nachos and Mar b'daiga. Second of all, too much Ashiris, a person could get an ayin hara. Third of all, too much Ashiris, a person could become either arrogant or completely not need Hashem. Vayishman Yeshurun Vayiva. O Malacha, work is good, just not too much work. Yayin, wine, good in moderation. Shina, sleep. Chamin, hot water to bathe in and to drink. And akazas dam, and occasional bloodletting is healthy. Shmoina mematim es hazera. 8 foods cause the semen to diminish. Ve'elu hein, hamelech, salt, va'rav, and hunger. Va'nesek, nesek is not a food, this is a rash on the head or the beard. Bechia, crying. Shinal gabe karka, sleeping on the ground. Good gonios, coriander. Vikoshes shaloi bisman, and hops that grow out of season. Va'kozes dam lamata kiflaim, and bloodletting below the testicles is double worse. It's worse double than the any above 7. Tana, kishem shekosha lamata kiflaim, just like it's detrimental double below, kach yafa lamala kiflaim. So it's also beneficial above double. Papa says what's above and what's below. Lamata means lamata min abayim, below the testicles. Lamala means lamala min abayim, above the testicles. Vikosha shaloi bismana, and hops not in season. Tana kishem shekosha shaloi bismana, just like hops not in season is no good. Kach yofa bismana, so it is good in season. Amra Papa, zmano tamas, the time for hops is in the summer in Tammuz. Shaloi bismana is in the winter in Tavis. Yumei Nisan, Yumei Tishrei, in the spring and the fall, it doesn't help and doesn't hurt. Loi malu, it's not beneficial. Loi kosher, it's not detrimental. Okay, we now end the medicinal portion of this parak, and now we get back to Gittin. You look at Mark, he's so relieved. He was getting tired of all this medicine. Okay, sorry, Mark. Yisrael Fisher from Tannersville was saying he was just beginning to enjoy it. But what could you do? So we learned in the Mishnah, Amar Kisvu Get Ishti, if a man, we'll call him Chatzkel, was healthy, and he said, write a get for my wife, then he drank too much wine, fresh wine from the vat, v'ochzu kudekaikus, and he was seized with delirium, v'chaz of Amar al tichtavu, and then he said, don't write it for my wife, ein dvar machreinim klum, we don't listen to his cancellation, because that was said only in a delirium. Now the question is, could we give the get right away, forthwith, or do we have to wait until he comes out of the delirium? So this is a machlokes. Amr b'Shim ben Lakish, kaisvin b'naisin get la'alter. You could write the get and give it to the wife immediately, even while he's under the effects of the delirium. We could only write it when he gets better. My time at Reish Lakish, what's the reason for Reish Lakish? We disregard his canceling the get, and therefore, what happens if you disregard? You follow his instructions. What it means that we don't pay attention to his cancellation, that means the lechi mitzel, when his mind clears up, you don't have to ask him, should I give it? Because we disregard his cancellation. But ula'olam ain't kaisman, we could only write the get when it gets better. What's the argument between the two of them? Shashi? Shash? Shashi? Yeah. Could you put on the air conditioner? Thank you, it's like steaming in here. Thank you. Says the Gemara, what are they arguing about? Reish Lakish medamin leili yashin. Reish Lakish compares him to somebody that's sleeping. Somebody that's sleeping, you could give a get while he's sleeping. Rabbi Yochanan medamei l'shaita, to somebody that's insane because he's delirious. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan nami l'damei l'yashin. Why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan compare him to somebody that's sleeping? So the Gemara says, Yashin loy mechusar ma'isa. A person that's sleeping is not lacking anyone. He's not lacking anything. He just has to wake up. Hi mechusar ma'isa. Here, we need to do something to cure him. We have to give him, we'll see, meat on coals and diluted wine. Let's compare him to a shaita and say that you can't give it until the delirium is over. Says shaita le samya biyadin. Shaita we can't reverse. Hi samya biyadin. This could be reversed. Bisra sumka with red meat agumri on coals with chamra marka and with diluted wine. Says the Gemara, Mi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Achi. Did Rabbi Yochanan say while he has the delirium, we cannot deliver the get? If, let's say, they slaughtered the esophagus and the trachea of a person, or on the majority, and while he's thrashing around, choking, v'ramaz v'amar, and he hinted and said, "Kisvu get leishti," harielu yichtavu v'yidnu. You could write it and deliver it. V'tanya ru'uya meguyid. If you see him cut up, oitzalav ala tzliva, or hanging from a gallows, v'ramaz v'amar, and he hints and says, "Kisvu get leishti," harielu yichtavu v'yidnu. So you see that even when a person can't talk and it's not reversible, you could still give a get. So Rabbi Yochanan says it's not comparable. Hachiyashta, what's the comparison? Hasam daita tzilusi. His mind is clear. His life is ebbing out of him, but his mind is clear. His life is ebbing out of him, and he's getting weaker and weaker, but his mind is clear. Hacha, here with delirium, daita shigishti. His mind is not clear. Says Gemara, Miyam Shmuel Achi. Did Shmuel say that when somebody, the two simanim are cut, he could still hint and give a get? If you saw somebody's trachea and esophagus cut, or the majority is cut, or barach, and he flees, me'idan alav, we could testify that his wife could marry. So you see, he's considered dead. If he's considered alive, that he could hint to a get, why can we testify about him? So the answer to this is very obvious. Amrei chayu, he's alive at the time, but he's surely going to die. If the majority of his windpipe and trachea is cut, he's surely going to die. Elameyata asks the Gemara, if by accident somebody cuts Chatzkel's trachea and esophagus, he should be sent to the Yari Miklat. If you shecht two simanim, or the majority of the two simanim, but if he's surely going to die, so then you caused him to die, so then you should have to go to the Yari Miklat, like somebody who kills somebody with shogeg. Says the Gemara, the only time you go to the Yari Miklat is if you're the only one that killed him. Here, when he cuts the two simanim, the wind that blows in him finishes him off, or his thrashing finishes him off. The wind blowing at him is what finished him off. By thrashing around, he killed himself. So therefore, that's why he doesn't go to the Yari Mikla. Now the Gemara asks, what's the difference? My beinayu. What's the difference between the fact that the wind killed him or thrashing around killed him? What's the difference between the two? So the Gemara says, Ike beinayu, the shachtei bebeisa desheisha, where you shechted him in a marble house where there's no wind, or pirkis, but he thrashed around. Inami the shachtei bebra, you shechted him outside where there is wind, v'loy pirkis, but he didn't thrash around. Now the Mishnah said Nishtatek, if a man became mute, v'amaloi, and we say to him, Nichtav get li'ishtecha, should we write a get for your wife? V'hirkin Raisha, and he nods. So we give him a test. We ask him, and if we see that he answers correctly. So the Gemara says, V'leichish dilmya shichya delav lav nakte. Maybe he was seized with a twitch, and he was going like this. No. Inami shichya dehein hey nakte, or he was seized with a twitch of yes. So maybe it's just involuntary movement, and you can't prove it conclusively. We don't say questions one after another. We say it, and then we say a little bit later, and a little bit later. So the Gemara says, still, maybe there's maybe he has some involuntary jerks at alternating moments. So the Gemara says, no, we ask him random questions. We ask him one question where the answer is no. V'train hain, two questions where the answer is yes. Then train lav, and then two questions where the answer is no. V'chad hain, and one question where the answer is yes. So we alternate it that way that it's not possible that it should be just involuntary jerks. The Bei Rabbi Yishmael Tana, in the Academy of Yishmael, they say, we ask him if he wants things in the summer, in the winter, and things in the winter, in the summer. And if he answers wrong, we know that we can't pay attention to his head movements. Now, what do we mean things in the winter, in the summer, things in the summer, in the winter? A coat, or a sadine, or linen which is light. Maybe he's seized with cold in the summer. Maybe he has a fever in the winter. Ella says to Gemara, what we should ask him is bepeire. In other words, in the summer there's blueberries, and in the winter you have another fruit. So if he gives the wrong answer and he wants summer fruit in the winter or winter fruit in the summer, we know that he is not giving accurate answers. I'm just going to pause a moment now, Rabbi Isai.